How's everybody doing today? Day two of hover, and I'm not sure how much more hovering we got to do. Again, this is just my take on things. It doesn't mean nothing, just how I see things. So first, let me throw this back at you. I've talked about this before. Cosmic neighbors. Okay, that's where we're. See the the red and blue Kachina, right? Right there. Okay, those are merging together. Like I said, this is a blending of what we would define as heaven and hell, so to speak, the upper and the lower, taking the best of both worlds, so to speak. So I've talked about that one before. The other thing I want to talk about is okay, and this is going to get kind of for some people who are still heavily institutionalized in the church teachings. So I've said before that the Jesus story is us, okay? Yes, there's layers to the onion. There is somebody else that goes by the same name. It is what it is. And they don't even go by that name. It's all symbology, okay? And a lot of people have been looking at the 7 years of tribulation and when they start and when that takes us to and what year. Like, a lot of people are looking at 2033, 2032. That's another one that comes to us from the movies, okay? I'll settle it right here. Right here, 2032. Okay, this is Demolition Man. And notice the names. We have John Spartan, right? We have John Spartan and Wesley Snipes, who plays Simon Phoenix, the Phoenix rising from the ashes, which it kind of says in here, a utopian future where Phoenix escapes. Okay, and I've said before, in all this symbology, the Phoenix rising from the ashes, that's us. That's the same ashes that Adam was plucked from and breathed life into his nostrils, right? So, how this is going to work is, I'm pretty sure, okay, so like I've said before, on this side of the equation, we keep time. On that side of the equation, I'm not sure we do. And if we do, it's probably not kept in the same manner we do here. But the point for all this is, it talks about right here, okay, now if you've watched Demolition Man, those two characters were frozen, and they talk about that right here. They were frozen and then they're thawed out. Okay, so just like the water symbology of the rebirth, that was Noah's flood. So man came after that, and a lot of people are talking about the seals being, and I've said before, that book is history. It's history. The sixth seal was about the same time as the Carrington event. That's what, and if you've done any research, people have been talking for years about the child trains, right? The orphan trains that were going on about that same time, late 1700s, early 1800s. I hate to tell you, those were little clone babies that all the entities, consciousness, jumped into. Okay, they weren't trafficking humans even back then. I mean, they were, but it's a big convoluted onion. There's layers to all of it. Okay, so just like with the whole Christ thing. I've said before that, there's three versions of the Christ in the Bible. You have, actually, I take that back. Okay, so you have Jesus, and he's mentioned just as Jesus several times in the Bible. Then you have Jesus Christ, specifically named that way, and then you have the Christ. And there's so many people talking about the Christ in me. Christ is consciousness, the Christos, the anointing, the oil, whatever you want to call it. It's called consciousness. Okay? So there are some without consciousness and there are some with consciousness. The Christ in you, the consciousness in you. I think, therefore I am, right? So it is what it is. Because again, it goes against the teachings of the church. Like I said. So anyway, This is why I'm getting at this. Okay, so if we're headed to the year 2032, and a day is like 1,000 years, and if I'm seeing this, the way I see it, and if we were actually birthed, 2 days ago, a day is like 1,000 years. So basically, we got to go 2 days plus the 32 years, however that works out math-wise, which will take us into tomorrow, I do believe. Now, something could happen there, something may not. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I just know all these dates that roll down the pipeline, things do happen. They're just not what we're looking for, right? And I think it's in the book of Daniel, maybe. It talks about the 10 kings, a new king on the scene, and 3 of them being plucked. So I think the 3 that have been plucked, nobody knows where Netanyahu is at the moment. The Ayatollah got plucked, and the Venezuelan leader got plucked. So there's your 3 kings that have been plucked. So, is that right? Again, it's just a story, and we're just all trying to figure out the story lead, the storylines, the cues, the plot twists. That's all it is. So really, that's all I have today. Is hopefully, we won't get past this weekend. Now there are events. Sometime now the biggest ones is 3i Atlas, and 3i Atlas just the other day when all this was going on with the planetary alignment stuff. That was 3i Atlas's closest pass to Jupiter. And if you read through the articles, when 3i Atlas went past Mars, all our supposed electronics up on Mars, the rover and the little helicopter and their little pony show up there, all went silent. Jupiter went silent. Okay, everywhere this thing passes goes silent. Excuse me. So I think that was another big event. Another big event coming in is this, this comet that's hurling towards the sun. That's going to happen sometime middle of April, end of April. I don't know. I live one day at a time. Tomorrow's promised to nobody, so I never look past the immediate future. And quite honestly, the immediate future right now, there's enough going on. I really don't have to look past it. There's enough signs, whatever. So hopefully we just do the 2 days, 32, whatever that works out to time-wise, a fraction of 1,000 years. It's just going to break down into hours more than likely. And then I think I also called, in my last video, the upcoming event, the solstice. It's an equinox. I'm sorry about that. It's just verbiage, right? Verbiage gets us into trouble both ways. So, I've been talking about this for a long time, but they actually put some color to it. Now you can see it's the red and blue Kachina, which is why, there's the Eye of Cleopatra. I've talked about one of the 10 horns being in New York. Cleopatra was a ruler, right? The Queen of the Nile. And, according to the Bible, they were all pagan gods that worshiped the sun, right? Ra, the red one, Cleopatra. Okay? It just is what it is. That's just how I see it. So anyway, I think that's all we got for today. There's really not much more coming down the pike. If something big comes down, we'll know, right? So have a good day. I love everybody. Take care. Hopefully we catch y'all on the flip side.